Hey everybody, we're going to work on a little bit of color mixing today, and so I was going to show you how to do this, and we're going to hit pause occasionally so that you'll have time to actually try it. But while we're watching, I want you to just keep your hands folded together and watch, and then when we pause, then you jump in and do. That way you're really paying attention to what to do, okay? So we're going to be working with watercolor. At this point, you should have a tray of watercolors. It might look something like this. You notice in my blue section right here that it looks like it's almost empty, but we still have plenty in there that we can use. There's some in the corners. We're going to use it up until it is actually white inside there and completely gone out of the corners. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. You'll also notice that it's kind of dirty down here, and that's okay. And some of your other colors may be a little dirty too, and that's fine. I'll show you how to clean those things out. Okay, so you have look here on my table. You have a tray of watercolors. You have a paper towel. You should have a small baby food jar, half full of water. Notice it does not go all the way to the top because I don't want to spill it all over, and a paintbrush. We also have two papers. We have one about mixing colors, and we have one about the color wheel. We're going to set the color wheel one aside for now, and we're going to just focus on mixing colors. Okay? Go ahead and get yourselves set up just like this. All right. When we use watercolors, these may be dry, like this yellow one is brand new, it's completely dry, or they may be kind of wet. Either way, we are going to always dip our paint in the water, or dip our paintbrush in the water, and then swirl in a circle to pick up some of the color, some of the pigment that is inside the square, the rectangle of color. And then once you've picked up enough, you can actually paint that in the square. Now you try. Then you notice I rinsed my brush, and when I rinse my brush, I scrub it on the bottom of the jar, and I do that so that I really get out all of the color. And if you need to dry it in between, you can, and if you don't, then don't dry it. But before we dig into any of the other colors, I'm going to show you how to clean one out. Okay, so let's say I accidentally dipped a little bit of red on my yellow. Oh no. So to clean it, I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to swirl it around in my yellow. And then I'm going to set my paintbrush aside for a second, grab my paper towel, just dab it inside that paint tray. And that all of a sudden will clean out your yellow and you're good to go again. So if any of your colors that you're using ever look dirty, that is a great way to clean them out. Okay? So up here on our color mixing paper, the next thing we're going to add is yellow. So I take my paintbrush, I dip it in the water, I swirl it around in the yellow until I get enough pigment, enough color on my brush that I can use it on the paper. Then I can fill it in that square. Now you try. When you're finished, rinse your brush. All right, the next one we're going to do is a mix of colors. You may not use the orange to fill in the orange square here. You may not use this orange to fill in the orange square here. Instead, we are going to mix our colors together to make orange. Red and yellow together make orange. This may be something you already know, but we're going to actually practice it. So here, you notice I'm cleaning off the top of my paint tray there. I'm going to use it as a palette to mix colors. To do that, I just took a little bit of water, I painted it up there, And then I took my paper towel and I wiped out that tray. Now I have a nice clean spot to mix my colors. So I'm going to start with yellow. Yellow is not a very powerful color. I swirl that around in there. I need lots of yellow to make orange. And I can paint that up there in the tray. Okay. Then before I dip in the red, I need to rinse my brush. And I scrub it on the bottom to make sure I get all the yellow out. Then I grab just a little bit of red. Because red is a really strong color, I don't need very much. And I'm going to take that red and I'm going to mix it in with the yellow. Now if you end up with an orange that is too red, that's okay. Rinse your brush and then grab some more yellow to mix it in. If you end up with an orange that's not quite red enough, maybe it looks a little bit more like mustard, that's also okay, because you can always just come back to the red, grab a bit more, and mix it in. Once you've made an orange you like, paint that in the square. Now you try. All right, we're going to rinse our brush. We also need to clean off the top of our palette. So you can take that paper towel and wipe the section off in the top of your palette there. And we're going to move down to the next line. Remember, you may not use the orange, you may not use the green, you may not use the purple that is provided in your palette. We are practicing mixing our colors. So for this one, we're going to make green. Yellow and blue make green. So I'm going to take my brush, swirl it around in the yellow, and then paint in the yellow square. Now when you're painting, we're going to try to avoid getting our paintbrush to look like a monster's hair, okay? We want to keep that brush nice and smooth and straight so that we can get pointy lines, clean lines. So if I go like this, that's making monster hair. And then my brush does this really crazy thing, and it's really hard to paint with it like that, okay? So if that happens to you, it's okay. Just dip in the water and then smooth your brush out so that it is back to the correct shape. So the next square is blue. We're going to grab some blue this time, swirl it around, and paint into the blue square. And then last, we're going to make green. Now we already cleaned out the top part of our tray. If you still have orange in there and you add blue in, it's going to make brown. So we really want to make sure that top part is clean before we start the next mixing. So to make green, we have yellow plus blue equals green. We're going to start with yellow. Now if you thought red was a powerful color, blue is even more powerful. So we don't need much blue to make green. So I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to grab a teensy bit of blue, and I'm going to mix that in to make green. Now if your green is too yellow, you can always add more blue, but it's really hard to add more yellow to make the blue into green. Okay? So go slow with the blue until you find a green that you like. And then once you've made a green you like, paint that in the square. Now you try. All right, the last section is going to be blue plus red equals purple. So to do this one, I'm just going to set this up here so you can see it. First, we need to clean off the top of our palette so that we have a place to mix our colors. We're going to start with blue and fill in that square right there. If you have a little stray color, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. This is just a practice page. So we fill in the blue. Then We fill in the red. And last, we need to mix our purple. So I'm going to start with red and put a little in the top of my tray. Then I'm going to add some blue to make a nice purple. Once you have a purple that you like, we're going to paint it in the square. When you have finished this whole paper and you've mixed all of your secondary colors again are orange, green, and purple. I need you to write your name across it in either a pencil or a crayon so that I can read it. And then we're just going to set it aside and grab your color wheel. For the color wheel, we're going to start with red. This one we're going to move a little more quickly because we already practiced mixing our colors. We know how to mix them. We know what colors make what. Again, I still don't want you to use the secondary colors that are provided for you in the tray. We're still going to mix them. All right, so we're going to start with red, and we're going to paint one of these pie pieces red. Then, after we filled that in, we're going to go to orange. Now you might be tempted to use the orange that's there, but that is not what we're going to do. We're going to clean out the top of our palette for mixing. We're going to wipe it clean, and we're going to mix orange in the top there. Make sure you start with a clean brush when you're grabbing yellow. We swirl that around in there to make the yellow and put that on the palette at the top. Then we take a little bit of red until we get an orange we like to make that orange. And once again, just like before, if it's too red, no problem. We're just going to grab some more yellow and mix that in until we get an orange we like. There it is. We're going to place that orange right next to the red. Paint that pie slice in, pizza slice. Rinse your brush. The next section is easy. There's no mixing. It will just be yellow. Swirl that around in the yellow and paint that in. Notice I'm nice and tidy. It's not pooling up with water. Okay, rinse your brush. The next one we have to mix. So this time we clean it out. We're going to take some yellow and blue together. That will make green. Yellow up in the top of the palette. A little bit of blue. Once we get a nice green that we like, we're just going to paint that into the pie slice. The next one is easy. It's a primary color. There's no mixing for primary colors. Remember to try to avoid getting monster hair with your paintbrush. Blue is our next one, so we're going to grab a little bit of blue, get a little water to swirl it around, and then paint that blue inside the pie slice. And the last one takes these two colors that are side by side here, red and blue, together make purple. We have to clean out the top of our palette again. We're going to grab a little bit of blue or red, doesn't matter where you start with purple. And then mix that together to make a nice purple. Once you get a purple you like, paint it in the pie slice. All right, now before we clean our space today, your paintbrush should be clean. We can dry it so that it's not dripping all over. Very gentle. The hairs on the paintbrush are nice and tidy. We just set that on your table for now. The inside of your palette should be clean, and there should be no water pooled up inside there. I should be able to go like this and it not drip out. If it is going to drip, take a paper towel and very carefully just lay it on top and press that into the tray. If you wipe it, it will get dirty on all of the colors, but this should help clean out the tray. Now mine was pretty dry, okay? Once it's dry like that, close your paint palette. Make sure your name is on this paper as well. We're gonna let them dry. You'll take them home next time, so make sure your name is on both papers. And then we're done for today. Thank you.